gosolarquote.info. Thank you.
A warm welcome to all of my family. You are now tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me? The station that shows you how to be the best you that you can be simultaneously through being better to everyone else. Him, he is. That's right, I am Simeon Robinson, and I'll be your conductor on this crazy train as we learn life lessons through love.
Thank you. Today I want to talk about a continuation of our episode from last week. Last week we talked about the essence of love. This week I want to talk about the two sides of love. I'm going to start with the definition of love. So what is love? Love is defined as a noun, an intense feeling of deep affection, a great interest and pleasure in something. Love is defined as a verb, to feel deep affection to like or enjoy something very much. Now, the overall definition of love is very, very easy to see. It's very, very easy to have. So we want to get a deeper definition, and we want to have a deeper understanding of love today. So where is love? Where are you looking is the question that you need to ask, and where are you avoiding or afraid to go to find that love? So many people do know where they need to look to find that love, but whenever they go to those places, that is what is hurting them. That is what every time they visit these places, that is what every time they have these interactions, these conversations, this is what hurts them and this is what ails them. So this is what they avoid. So oftentimes we know what hurts us and we know what helps us and we know what our love is. But when it actually comes time to finding that, when it actually comes time to cultivating that, rather, it becomes hard. So how do you find it? The answer is you don't. I want you to cultivate it, because to find something means to discover or perceive by chance or unexpectedly. To cultivate something means to apply oneself to improving or developing. So when you actually want something that is long lasting, when you actually want something that is meaningful, when you actually want something that is going to help you and maintain you and sustain you, you want to create that, not find that by chance or unexpectedly. So we want to cultivate and not find. Now, last week we talked about the eight different types of love as discovered by the Greeks. And I want to run through that with you because each of these types of love can be either negative or positive. So this is what I want to talk about when it comes to the two sides of love. So the Greek have 8 different words for love. Number 1, eros. This is a romantic or physical love. This is the root of the word erotic. So this embodies desire or passion. And when you think about this, when it comes to desire or passion, what are you passionate about? What do you desire for yourself, for your family, for your goals, for your dreams? What is important to you? And how deep is the passion that you have for that? Is it something that is just fleeting? Is it something that can be long lasting? Because desire and passion can be really strong motivators, but they can also be really strong deterrents and really strong excuses. So when you think about love and you think about desire and you think about passion, when it comes to love, how are you loving yourself and how are you loving your goals and your dreams? And in the aspect of a relationship, I would liken it to foreplay. You want the final act, but you're not getting your partner ready. So you want the end goal of your goals and your dreams, but you don't want to stay consistent. And you don't want to do what you need to do to get there. That's not going to benefit your partner. And in this, your partner is your goal. Your partner is your dream. Your partner is your family. Your partner is your career, whatever the case may be. But you have to get that ready, So when it comes to that romance, when it comes to that physical love, you have to always be romantic. You have to always remind even yourself that you're beautiful. You always have to remind yourself that you're smart, you're intelligent, you're kind. Remind yourself that you're working hard on the days that you feel like you're not doing enough. Remind yourself that, because if you don't give that love to yourself, it's going to be hard for you to give that love to anyone else. And it's going to be hard for you to receive that love because you can't even muster the strength to tell yourself, because part of you doesn't believe it. The next word is philautia. This is the love of self. This literally comes from the root words phileo, and autos, which literally mean love and self. Now, this love is one of the most complex loves. It is a very fluid line between positive and negative, because this is the root to both self-love, self-accountability, and narcissism. So there is a very thin line between loving yourself and knowing when you need to check yourself. And this is why self-love is so important, because if you refuse to check yourself, you're going to make it hard for you to be checked by anyone else. And if you don't love yourself, you will look for yourself in other people, in other places, and in other things. And that is where the problems are going to come, because it's going to be so easy for you to accept what other people are giving you if you are not giving yourself what you need. If you are not trying to find for yourself what you need. If you are not trying to find for yourself what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel satisfied, what makes you feel fulfilled, that is going to be a problem. And relationships with others are usually a representation of the relationship that you have with yourself. So the next time that you're wondering why your romantic relationships aren't working, your familial relationships aren't working, your relationships with your coworkers or whatever the case is, do a check on the relationship with yourself. How happy are you making yourself? How sad are you making yourself? Do you need to be humbled? Have you been humbled? And how are you handling that? How are you learning from yourself? And how are you loving yourself in this time, in this space, so that you can move forward and move forward positively, not just move forward because you have to. It's really easy to move forward because life is going to go on regardless. But you want to move forward and progress, two very different things. So you cannot fulfill Jesus's commandment if you do not love yourself. The commandment that he gave in Matthew 22, he said, the great commandment is obviously to love God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind. And he said, the second great commandment is like the first. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. You cannot love your neighbor as you love yourself if you do not learn to love yourself. This is one of the reasons why I say the relationship you have with others is most likely and most often the representation of the relationship that you have with yourself. It's going to be hard to love your neighbor as you love yourself if you don't love yourself. And you're going to be like, oh, well, I do this to me, and this is how I talk to me, and this is okay with me, but that shouldn't be okay with you. And if you don't take the time to sit down and say, okay, cool, I've been accepting this, I've been allowing this, I've been maybe even enabling this in my life, I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be perpetuating that in other people's lives. This is why, maybe some of your family members or some of your so-called friends who have told you not to dream so big, who have told you to be more realistic, who have told you that it's okay that things don't work out, because this is how they think. So what has made them cope with life, they have no problem telling you this is how you can cope with life. So love yourself. Love yourself so that you can fulfill the great commandment. It's going to be hard to love God if you're not loving yourself, and it's going to be hard to love others if you are not loving yourself. This is why this is important. And the next word is pragma. This is a practical or a compatible love. This focuses on similarities or shared thoughts and goals. This is a great love because when one is gathered together, he can do good. But when two or three are gathered together, they can do great. And if you are gathered together in a like-minded fashion, and you are gathered together for one goal, and you are gathered together in the way that you are attempting and reaching after that goal, whether it be for your family, whether it be for your neighborhood, whether it be for your church, whether it be for your job, your organization, whatever the case is, this is practical. You're thinking about what works best for you, what works best for them, and usually it's one and the same thing. This is amazing for positive traits. The flip side to that coin is is very traumatizing for negative ones. Because the second that you remove that compatibility, the second that you remove that one similar trait, that one similar action, that one similar sin, that becomes the second that you have to remove that person, most likely. Because if they are only around you when you're drinking, or if they're only around you when you're smoking, if they're only around you when you're wasting time, if they're only around you when you're making excuses, if they're only around you when you're blaming everyone else, if they're only around you when you're being lazy, the second that you start to go to the gym, now they're going to say, oh, you think you're better. That's the goal. I'm trying to be better. I would like for you to be better with me. But you can't make other people want better for themselves. So this is why I say it's great when you both are already on the same page. It can be bad the second that you remove that page or you turn to a different page, because oftentimes people do not want to move from where they feel comfortable. So what is practical for a lot of people is to stay where they feel comfortable. So pragma is very good to find that compatibility. It's very good to find that like-mindedness. But when you grow, you have to make sure that the like-mindedness remains. Because if one person grows, you're either growing apart or you're growing in a different direction. And all growth does not mean it's positive. All growth does not mean it's positive. You can gain weight by gaining muscle or fat. It's a huge difference when you gain muscle. It's a huge difference when you gain fat. So all growth is not positive. Please remember that. The next word is philia. This is the word for friendship, a shared belief and value. And philia and pragma are similar. Philia means belonging to a group, a team, a demographic, if you will. This is easier to find love in natural similarities. I say natural similarities because pragma speaks to interests, as opposed to philia is, as a black man, I can navigate towards other men or other men who are black. That is what I mean when I say a demographic. So this is very easy for people to feel familiar with people who look like them, or with people who come from, or with people who you assume come from a similar background. This gives us a sense of belonging. This gives us a sense of, I found my tribe. I have found my people. And this is great because that sense of family outside of blood gives us a different meaning. You have the family you've been given and you have the family you choose. The family that I have chosen over the past, let's say, year have helped me tremendously. And I have never met most of these people. Most of the people that I speak to, most of the people that I give answers to, most of the people I pray over, most of the people that I help, I've never seen them a day in my life. But they will support me more than the people who share my blood. Sadly, oftentimes. So you have the family that you were given, and then you have the family that you've chosen. So you have to be aware of the choices that you're making. And if you are surrounding yourself with people who agree with your bad choices, it's going to be hard for you. It's going to be even harder for you to make better ones. It's going to be very hard for you to make better ones if you continue to surround yourself with the people who are enabling your negative choices and decisions. This can be a very thin line between preference and prohibitions. This can be a very thin line between preference and prohibitions, because it is totally fine to prefer one thing over another. But oftentimes we blind ourselves and don't realize that we have taken away an entire option simply because we feel that we belong to this. We feel comfortable in this. We feel that this is what's best for us. So we never even take the time to try to find something else. Our tribe has always been our tribe. Our neighborhood has always been our neighborhood. Growing up as a young black man in the West Side hoods of Chicago, every single block was a tribe. Every single block was different. So the second that you go down that street, my grandma said, hey, don't turn that corner. The second that you turn that corner, that's a whole different block. And people will do crazy things for their block. Meanwhile, these are not your family, but you feel a sense of belonging. Same way when it comes to groups, same way when it comes to gangs, same way when it comes to a lot of negative things. If you feel that you belong and these people are enabling you to make the wrong decisions, it's going to be even harder for you to break away and love yourself, because the love that you have found in them is only going to push you down a more negative path. And I want to give you the definition of the word friend. Friend is a noun. Friend is merely a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection. That is all it takes to be a friend by definition. That is all it takes to be a friend by definition. That is all it takes to be a friend in the world. I want to give you a different definition from John 15. Jesus said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for their friend." So while the world makes it easy for you to call people your friend, be very careful who you call a friend. Be very careful who you call a friend. Because my friends, when they call me, don't call me unless you need me, because I'm going to figure it out the second you call me. Be very careful of who you consider a friend, because we throw around friend so much and we think that because we've known someone for a certain amount of time that we know them, but we've never had certain conversations. You would never sacrifice anything for them, and you don't even fully trust them to sacrifice anything for you. Don't throw that word around. Because the second that you attach yourself to a lot of people and a lot of things, it's going to be harder for you to detach yourself. Oh, I've known her for forever. Okay, but she's the reason that you don't want to go to the gym. Oh, what? That's my bro. I've known him since I was a kid. Okay, but he's the reason you don't want to give this thing up so that you can be better for yourself and for your family. Be very careful who you call a friend. And if you're not ready to give anything up for that person, either you're not a good friend or they're not your friend. One of the two, if not both. The next word is storge, since we're talking about friends and family. Storge is a familial love. And my question to you is, were you loved as a child? Were you loved as a child? And the reason I ask this, or I should ask another question, is how were you loved as a child? Because I feel that so many of us have been loved because our parents or our family tell us that we've been loved. But the way that we've been loved is so traumatic, is so negative. It's so boxing in or condescending that now we've carried those traits into adulthood. Most people who do not love properly learned it from their family and their upbringing. And I'm not saying this as a reason. This is an excuse that so many of us use to not do therapy, to not do help, to not pray, to not go outside of ourselves and say, oh, this is how I've been raised. This is how I'll always be. This is how my mother was. This is how my father was. This is how my family has been. It's been ingrained, and they believe it to be hereditary. They believe it to be hereditary. Oh, I can't change it. First of all, it's not diabetes. Okay. It's not a hereditary illness or a disease. You are making choices to do and say what you do and say. So you can make another choice to stop doing and saying what you are doing. And when you do this, you can make better choices, decisions, and actions. So many people think that the flaws that they have are generational curses, and not the fact that they continue to make bad decisions. God can fix anything, but did God make you buy all those things and go into debt? It's certain things that we pray for and not work. And then there's certain things that we need to work for while we pray. God didn't make me like fashion. Okay. I was born that way. God didn't give me expensive taste. Okay. He also didn't give me a frugal mindset. Growing up poor did. So I had to learn that, and I had to learn to balance those things because it's very important. It's very important. And my question to you, to everybody who believes in these generational curses and all of these flaws and all of the things that you continue to perpetuate, that you hated your parents and your family did to you, how can you break generational curses if you are still seeking validation and acceptance from those very same generations? How can you expect to break generational curses if you are still seeking validation, acceptance, and understanding from those very same generations? You need to learn yourself, and in the midst of learning yourself, you need to unlearn what you have been taught that has allowed you to stay in that box. But so many people are afraid to break out of what they've been told. So yeah, you're going to continue to believe that it's a generational curse until you actually decide to do something different, and until you actually stop idolizing the same people who are cursing you. Food for thought. The next word is ludus. It's a fun, playful love, but this love is uncommitted. It sounds fun until it isn't. That rhymed. This love is similar to a situationship, friends with benefits. These are the go with the flowers. Do not get into it because it will damage your views on yourself, on love as a whole, on life. People become very cynical just because of the fact that this is what they do. This will damage your views on your trust. This will damage your appeal for men and women. A lot of men love to say that women who are promiscuous are different. Sir, look in the mirror. It takes two. So if you're going to look at her for being a certain way, look at yourself. And it's going to damage your understanding, because it's going to be very hard to understand that everybody is not the same. It's going to be very hard when you meet somebody who is different and you're like, oh, this doesn't make any sense, because you gotta get out of the trap. The next word is mania. This is an obsessive or a possessive love. This is an extreme, intense emotions like dependency and a constant need for reassurance or validation. It is very hard for these people to see when they are the problem because they are doing too much. Oh, I'm loving you. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And the problem is not the fact that they are doing good things. It is where these things are stemming from, because they're usually not stemming from a place of love. They're stemming from a place of, I need to prove my worth. I don't feel worthy. I don't feel pretty enough. I don't feel that I deserve these things. Or what I see is everybody around me, only around me because I'm pretty, only around me because I'm handsome, only around me because I have money, only around me because I can provide, only around me because of my status or my stature. It's going to be hard for those people to love you genuinely because they don't see when they're being the problem and where their love is generating from. The intentions or the origins of their love are not always bad, and that may be why it's hard for them or for you to spot it. And last but not least, agape. And all you're thinking like, oh my gosh, how can agape have a flip side to it? Don't worry, I'll tell you. This is the giving, contributing love. This is the love of all loves, the love of mankind or humanity, the love that God tells us to give to each other. This is considered the greatest because it is unconditional and selfless. But unconditional does not mean boundaryless. Unconditional does not mean boundaryless. You can love someone and still leave them. You can love someone and sadly still lie to them. You can love someone and not like them. At least that's what my grandma told me. Okay. Hey, I love you, baby, but I don't like you right now. I learned it. You can love someone and you cannot love yourself. And if you love them, but you don't love you, this is going to be mania. This is going to be, I need to do this because I don't feel that I deserve this, or no one's ever given this to me. Don't do anything for love, but do everything in love. Don't do anything for love, but do everything in love. And I will leave you with this. Learn yourself. And in order to learn yourself, you must unlearn everyone else. Who do you want to be? I don't care about what your mom, I don't care about your dad, I don't care about your grandparents, I don't care about your ancestors, I don't care about what you believe in. Who do you want to be? Because do not allow the doctrines that have been placed on you to box you in. Lead yourself. And in order to lead yourself, you must choose what you follow. This is how you learn yourself and unlearn everyone else. And forgive yourself. You are loved. even after your mistakes, even after the lessons, even after the failures, even after everything that you have to go through. Forgive yourself and learn yourself again. And when you learn yourself after you forgive yourself, you can say what is in the past is in the past. And I've learned from it, and it has made me a new creature. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, anybody who is in God is now a new creature. So if you believe, then you have to receive. And once you learn yourself again, you complete the process over and over again. So I love you. And until next week, I hope I can see you again. Thank you.
I pray that this message is delivered to you. Even if it is not downloaded immediately into your spirit, I hope that you have this in the arsenal of your heart when you need it. I will be here every Friday, noon Pacific, 2 Central, 3 Eastern, to continue to give you love, information, motivation, inspiration, and everything else that I can provide. So until next time, I love you. See you later.